Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here to talk about our modern transformation journey. So yeah, thanks for having me. Before I jump in, a little bit about me. I'm the IT director at Belstaff. I've got over 15 years experience in delivering large-scale transformation programs. Some of the companies I've worked with on there, and sort of towards the latter part of my career, I've focused more on luxury retail. So, companies like Belstaff, Chanel, the White Company, and it's a really interesting area for me, so I've sort of stuck with it. I enjoy traveling and adventure. Sort of my highlight is that I sort of did 7 months round the world trip to see some amazing locations like South America, Fiji, New Zealand, and Southeast Asia. I also like diving and fitness. My riskiest moment ever is a cageless dive with bull sharks in Fiji. Won't be doing it again. Yeah, you only live once, yeah. Can't believe I said that, but yeah. And then the scariest moment is a bungee jump, and the most surreal moment is the birth of my daughter, who is now 6 months old. I did ask my wife if I could put a picture of her, and she was like, no. This is a different event. So, right, so the contents today, I'm going to talk about who Belstaff are, our digital transformation journey, what our modern architecture looks like, the lessons learned, which is really key, and sort of we'll have some time for question and answers. It will take about 15 to 20 minutes to do the presentation. Cool. So, Belstaff are a modern British heritage brand. They were founded in Stoke in 1924. They sell outerwear and motorcycle clothing, D2C and wholesale business, and we have 14 stores and 5 websites. That's including international, so international stores and websites. So we're not huge. We're sort of still consider ourselves a small to medium-sized business. I have put a picture of David Beckham up, because in 2014 he did a collab with us. So, if you haven't heard of them, maybe you would remember that, as he's one of the most famous people in the world at the time. So, this year was our centenary year, and we had a really engaging campaign. We also, we refreshed our entire website to kind of make it relevant. And yeah, if you've got some time, I'd encourage you to go and have a look at that. There's a lot of work that got put into that. Some really, really cool stuff on there. Right, talking about refreshes and campaigns, let's dive into sort of our transformation program. But before we do that, it's important to see where Belstaff was in 2021, September, before 2021. We were significantly loss-making year on year. We had an expensive outsourced IT contract. Requesting new features was really costly and slow. Patchy architecture led to a high level of technical debt, and with every change, we were sort of building on top of the previous one, so it was getting more and more expensive to maintain. And the complex operating structure, it was too big for the size of the business. And that was because it was years and years of strategies that were more focused on building on top of structures, rather than saying, right, how do we consolidate this business? We're not huge. Why do we have so many different, operating areas and different focuses? So this is where we were before September 2021. The owners were looking at it and they were saying, this is our final chance now. We've tried to fix it before. If we don't do it this time, who knows what would have happened? They could have got rid of the business, could have gone into administration or whatever, right? So we had to do something big and enter Mission Phoenix, and that was a 3-year turnaround plan. And it was sort of, some of the objectives of that were to increase revenue and reduce operational costs, take back control of our IT architecture, expand the brand to more audiences, streamline our operational setup, and it was led by Fran Miller, our CEO. You may have heard she's recently moved to Rafa. So what was our approach? Well, I haven't made this quote up. I've seen it around, but I really resonate with it. But digital transformation starts with data centralization. And I know that's like a very big statement, but what does that actually mean? So I'll try and explain. It's about consolidating our data as much as we can and limit the number of systems. Otherwise, you'll have lots of systems and lots of integration points. So if you want to do anything, you'll have to consider everything, all of the applications that are in your architecture, and that can create more work. We adopted applications that did more than one thing. So, you know, the Shopify tech stack that offers e-commerce, point of sale, and payment gateway solutions, all in one tech stack. NetSuite, we chose as our ERP system, and you know, it does all of that, inventory, financial, order production, and vendor supply management, CRM, and a lot more. So how does that help? So I've just put an example here just to go through. So if you look at sort of that, you know, very summarized architecture, you've got an e-com platform, a point of sale platform, and a payment platform on separate systems. And all the sort of the experience I've had, that's generally been the case. You've got an integration into your order management, you've got another integration to your ERP, and you've got another integration probably to your warehouse to fulfill the orders. You compare that with that's entirely different. You've got your e-com, point of sale, and payment on one platform. You've got one integration into your ERP. Right, so if anyone comes in and goes, right, I want to create a new feature, they're just integrating to one tech stack. It's so much more simpler for everyone, you know, for speed of rollout through the, you know, the project management team, the analysis of it, the implementation of it, the testing of it. The benefits are huge. So what other things did we kind of do? So we used MAC principles for our IT architecture. So MAC principles, just to summarize, is the use of microservices. So they're just sort of discrete services that do a specific function, like send an order from system A to system B, or send stock updates from system A to system B. We have an API-first approach. So that's about making sure anytime you have a decision to make about how a system talks to another one, we were sort of using API as the default, unless there's a good reason not to. And that allows you really to kind of, you know, expose your systems to one another, because then they can speak a common language. Cloud native, so we deployed applications in the cloud. So our website is on the GCP. And, you know, we're headless. So that's basically just about, you know, it's a term that gets used a lot. It's literally just separating your presentation layer from your e-commerce engine. So our website code and how it looks and feels is different to the actual Shopify e-commerce engine. So how does this help the business? That's the key thing, right? So it allows the business choice to choose the best tools on the market, because you've, you know, opened up your architecture. You can then pick and choose what system you want to integrate with it. Composability, so it allows the business to efficiently add, replace, remove tools in the future. You may not see the benefit of composability from the start, right? Because you've done this transformation program. It's like, so what? What does composability mean? Well, that's important 2 or 3 years down the line when you go, I'm not really sure about our e-commerce platform. I want to move that out and put another e-commerce platform in. You can keep your website the same. Just switch the e-commerce platform. Still complicated, but it's much easier than otherwise would have been. Speed to market. So IT projects or updates can be rolled out much quicker. It improves performance, scalability, and security of the architecture. And it's very good at allowing you to troubleshoot issues and remediate problems as soon as possible. We know, right, we've all got go live or live issues that just spring up, and you're like, where's the issue? How do we like identify it? And the more you follow these principles, the easier it is to troubleshoot. So what does our architecture look like? So we've got a headless website. That's on the GCP. Soon we're the agency that built it. That is integrated with Shopify, which is our e-com point of sale and payments gateway platform. We've got Viado, which is our ESP. So, you know, we use that to do our marketing. So we've got our customers on there to market to. Patchworks, which is our integration partner, I'm going to say. And then we've got NetSuite is the ERP system. We've got WFX, which is the PLM. So all of our products originate from there. Then they make their way through into NetSuite, into Shopify, into the rest of our architecture. And we also have NetSuite Data Warehouse and Analytics. That's basically our kind of reporting capability, our data warehouse and reporting capability. Now, it's probably just worth noting as well, we've also got Microsoft Intune and Kanji. These are not customer-facing systems, but it's just probably worth calling these out as well. These are cloud-based as well. These allow us to manage our own devices within the office really easily. So you want to push updates out. These are the technologies you use. If you want to push updates out to your user base in your office, policy updates, security updates, application updates, anything like that, we use those technologies. We've got a whole host of other things that we use, but I didn't really want to get into that. So we are fully cloud-based. All of our architecture is on the cloud, which is great for us because it takes away a lot of the headache that might come with infrastructure management, scalability, or updates that you need to sort of make for applications. It really, really helps. There are other benefits as well, which might not be immediately apparent. So, for example, payments gateway, how compliant is that? PCI compliance, things you might need to think about a little bit more if you weren't on the cloud. We find that even auditing, if there's an auditor that comes in and says, look, I need to audit your systems, we say they're on the cloud, and there's a lot of documentation out there that can point them to the right answers. It's far easier to manage. So some of the wider business changes worth going through as well. We expanded our target audience to a younger demographic. We reviewed and refreshed brand and clothing design. We consolidated our HQ location, so we had a HQ in Italy, as well as the UK, but everyone is in the UK now. We migrated and consolidated our warehouses, streamlined our operational processes, and of course we had Brexit, which introduced additional overhead to manage bonded and non-bonded in our Italian warehouse. So standard transfers of stock or sending stock to wholesalers or your customers was a bit more complicated then because you had to track everything individually, which posed a significant overhead for us. Of course, all of these were supported by the digital transformation. So summary of the benefits so far, really high level. We've increased revenue and reduced operating costs. We've got control of our IT architecture now. We know what it looks like. We manage it. We've got an in-house team. They're trained. They know what to do. We've got a wider customer demographic, and we've streamlined our operational processes. So the key bit, I guess, which is the lessons learned. So, fresh out of this, 3-year program, roughly. So it's a good time to talk about the lessons learned. As the years go by, these kind of fade away. So, so first thing is headless has its advantages and disadvantages. We chose to go with headless because Belstaff is a luxury brand. They want more control over the website, the look and feel. You can control the performance and the loading time better. For example, our website is server-side rendered. So all of the code that you see on your mobile phone is rendered on the server first, sent directly to your mobile, compared to sending some information to your mobile phone and asking your mobile phone to do the rest, which could slow things down. So, we chose the headless route, and of course it plays into composability, as I mentioned earlier. It does have its disadvantages though. So we found, if you want to use some of the Shopify apps that you install, and some of them are really plug and play and really easy to use, if you install them on your Shopify, application, you're going to have to think about how that integrates again with your headless front end. So it was a bit of a learning curve at the time because we had the business coming to say, oh, look at this app, this is really cool, it does this, and I had to be the bad guy and go, Yeah, it's not as easy as that. We have to do a lot more than just install it. But, you know, different businesses are different, you know. There is no, you know, one size fits all in terms of this topic, yeah. Using SaaS products is beneficial, but it's not indestructible, right? It has its downtimes, you know, just like any other system would. So if you're going SaaS, don't expect it to be up 100% of the time. Data centralization within a unified commerce platform is a game changer. Okay, so this is probably the most important point here. It really is a game changer. You know, I've been involved in implementing omni-channel in different businesses. And you know, when you've got different systems, there's a lot more complexity there to think about and a lot more cost to do the different integrations, as mentioned earlier. But if you can get this within a unified commerce platform, it's so much easier. So for example, the Shopify, we've got a point of sale and an e-commerce platform. Our point of sale you know, hardware in our stores, anytime there's a sale that's going in, that's going into the same data structure within that Shopify platform as if when a customer buys something online. Now, having that same data structure makes the integration much easier. If you've got different systems, you know, point of sale in one system saying, oh, this point of sale, the data in that looks like this, and another system says a web order looks like this, you've got to then think about how you model that with your integration. So that's double the amount of work. But when you've got it under one platform, you can really just actually communicate in one way, in one structure. And it really is a game changer. It really just reduces complexity and cost. We were able to roll out our omni-channel capability. We had omni-channel before September 2021, but we went big bang into a completely new architecture. But it was quite basic. We didn't have omni-channel capabilities, so we had to work to get there. Took us 4-5 months to roll that out. Been on projects where it's taken 12 to 18 months to do that. And probably about 1/10 of the cost, really. It's really straightforward on Shopify. Click a couple of buttons, and you are, you know, omni-enabled. Of course, there are integration changes you have to make, which is where Patchworks come in. But, you know, they are not the most complex integration changes either. This is not moving on. What am I pointing to? What's the, where's the?
I'm not sure.
Right, there we go, cool. All right. Somewhere there, I think. Is this on the SaaS? No.
It's composable.
Having the right partners is critical when the going gets tough. That's when you know if you've got the right partner. So we had a number of different third parties to help us with our digital transformation journey. And there were times where, you know, we were thinking, this is just not going to work. We're done for. But, you know, Patchworks really did, you know, in the instances where we really needed help, they were able to offer this. And it was not just, you know, in moments, but it was in different areas like design, or, you know, coming up with a solution to something we had a problem with, or post-go live. They were really there to support us all the way through. Now, I don't know if I'm meant to say this, but obviously at the time, you were providing...
We still have PS.
Okay, professional services, yeah. Now it's more of an agency kind of led, so there's other agencies that implement Patchworks for you. But I guess that is a sign of why you're successful, right? It shows you that, you know, you've got more work coming in. There's a lot more people using your system. So actually, there's agencies now that are implementing Patchworks out there. So yeah, we found that experience really good. This point is about, it's really the business that should be responsible for ensuring the software is fit for purpose for them and be able to manage it. Not the software vendor. They are more focused on selling their products, okay? So it kind of applies to your personal life too. If you want to go and buy a house or a car, you'll do your research because you know you're paying a lot of money for that. It's the same in IT or software purchases. You know, software purchase can be expensive. You know, giving out a lot of money there sometimes for like ERP systems or project deliveries that you're sort of looking to do. So it's really important that you are sure that it's the right thing. We've had examples where different departments have gone out and had a conversation with, say, a software, can't say the word for some reason, software supplier. The IT team got involved later on, right? So they were already excited about, the business were already excited about the solution, and when they got IT involved, they kind of said, well, actually, this ain't going to fit in our architecture, and it's going to cost a lot of money, and so on and so forth. So it's just really important to include IT in those initial conversations, as they are the experts really in terms of software development, deployment, and integration. We also had an experience where, I'm not going to name who they are, but it kind of focuses more on the selling bit. They were selling us their application, and the business was really interested in it, and it had a lot of momentum. We did our research, we did our sort of value matrix, and all the advantages, disadvantages. Decided to kind of do a discovery phase with them, and they said, look, we know exactly how to integrate with Shopify. Have you done headless? Yes, we've done headless. We've done it all. The 2-week discovery phase, and it was apparent that they'd never done it before. So it's 2 weeks of our time wasted, but better than signing a contract or a statement of work and sort of rolling it out. We kind of did the due diligence, and basically, they hadn't done it before. They were just more interested in selling their software. So yeah, it's just really important to get the IT team involved. Ensure it's similar, but ensure you have the right IT delivery resources in place. So I'm still surprised by the amount of times that I hear sometimes businesses go out there, purchase, say, a Patchworks, a NetSuite, and a Shopify, but they don't have an IT team. It's really important you have someone in-house that understands, how these systems will integrate with each other. Because if you don't, you're just kicking the problem later down the line anyway. It will hit you, and you will, have to do something about it. Other examples are, say, for example, getting a business analyst in. If you don't have a resource that can link IT and the business together, sometimes you just need that person in between that can mold the two together. There's been instances where there hasn't been a BA on a project, and that surprised me. Anyway, enough of my IT rants. Chip on the shoulder gone. Do you really need to migrate all of your data to the new platform is a question you should ask, because when you re-platform, you're like, oh, we need all the data on there. And I can completely understand that, because you want to use one platform to do your work. But sometimes it's just easier to say, look, we'll keep the old platform running and use the new platform for the data that we migrated. It could be 50%, 60% of the data you need. And you sort of just slowly phase out the old system. So yes, there is a dual running period, but sometimes, thinking about all of your financial transactions historically at a very granular level and wanting to sort of migrate that into system A to system B, sometimes it's just not possible, and sometimes it's just very complicated and cumbersome. So just have that on the back of your mind. Do I really need to migrate all of the data, or can I have dual running? And finally, implementing an entirely new architecture with continuous development, migrating warehouses twice in 3 years, moving part of your HQ from Italy to the UK, dealing with Brexit and reshaping your organization, operational processes, and brand positioning all at the same time is not easy. Right, we've got some time for questions and answers, so does anyone have any questions?
I have a question here. In regards to, I've seen a lot of legacy brands, they're just too scared to make that simplification of their architecture. Should they be doing what stores have done, which is, oh, we're about to go to administration, or where's that pivot point?
Yeah, it's a really good point, actually. So this is it. So sometimes you really need to get to the point of, look, this is like do or die. We need massive change here, which is then like, oh, okay, if we're going to do massive change, then let's just go all on the cloud. Let's just do what makes sense. These cloud technologies are not there, say, for selling. They are actually really good. There's some really good technologies out there that simplify stuff. So yeah, sometimes you need to get to that stage where it's like, this is it now, we have to do it, which is what happened with Belstaff. Whereas if you can't get to that stage, yeah, there's umming and ahhing, and really you kind of, it's a difficult one because it's not just one person that can make the decision. In your example, let's just say, I was a CEO and I knew that that was the right thing to do, I'd go ahead and do it. But how many CEOs are from an IT background, or sometimes it's not even the right decision anyway. It might not be the right decision for the finance team, right? So it's not an easy question to answer, but to kind of answer it, you sometimes need to get to that stage where this is just untenable, which is what it was at Belstaff. It just was not working. It was really, and sometimes everyone in the organization needs to be at that stage to make a massive change.
With the benefit of hindsight, obviously going headless in 2021 when it was a massive buzzword, there's lots of excitement around it. With the enhancements that have been made to native Shopify themes, if you were to go back in time and make that decision, would you still go headless or would you stuck native to Shopify?
Yeah. So there's, on top of the theme enhancements, there's also a hydrogen or oxygen. So Shopify have done their own headless version, setup, environment and framework. As an IT person, yes, but would say brand and marketing agree with that? No, probably not, because they want more control. And really, that's what's important. They're responsible for what the customer sees, right? So they might want to still go headless, but maybe one thing I would do is, in hindsight, I would have used maybe hydrogen and oxygen, because that is a Shopify kind of not out of the box solution, but it's their version of a headless. So, but at the time it wasn't out. So we couldn't do it.
So you mentioned that you did a 12 to 18 months rollout and went with big bang for that faster time to market. When looking at Shopify and several other supplier vendors, you wanted to find the right business for you to work with. How many different vendors did you meet, and how much of a period of time was it for you to decide actually we're going with Shopify after meeting with several different suppliers?
So with e-commerce platforms, there's quite a lot out there, right? I think we were on Salesforce Commerce previously. And the way it usually works is you kind of need someone that's had an exposure of different e-commerce platforms. Personally, what I would do is, bring out a top 5, okay? So I wouldn't say, let's spend time reviewing 20 different ones. I've got enough knowledge to say these top 5 are probably the right ones, unless someone can come to me, right, and say, actually, no, have you heard of this? And it's like, right, I'm going to go and review that. And then it's important to kind of, interview them. If you can, which isn't always possible, is that, can I get a demo? Can I actually have access to your software? Which Shopify does, right? So you can see how easy it was to use. I think that's really key, is being able to see their software for free, so you can really make your own decisions. I think sometimes if you don't see that, and then you purchase the software, later on you're sort of scratching your head saying, I didn't know it looked like this, or I didn't know it worked in this way. You can't, in IT, you can never, or software purchase, you can never look at all the scenarios, right? You can't always predict what's going to happen, but the more easier you make it for yourself up front in terms of the demos or asking the right questions, the easier it becomes. So yeah, you sort of whittle it down to the sort of top 5, have conversations internally, give a scoring system, and basically, yeah, just go with the right provider. Does that answer your question?
Perfect.
Brilliant.
So you mentioned temporal depth, and then you mentioned ownership. Obviously, from an IT perspective, you have an idea of what you need, but you've also got a team around you. What would you say the other non-IT people, what was their focus on fixing, and what was your main focus on fixing?
On fixing? So is this fixing issues that arose after go live, or sorry?
When the decision was made, so you said there was temporal depth, there was ownership. What was your main priority of fixing? What was their main priority of fixing?
Oh, I see. Technical debt.
Yeah.
Good question. So usually the way it works is it's quite polarized, right? So the business want X, and sort of how you implement it is like, no, it's actually like Y, and it's sometimes you only see the top of the iceberg, right? And sort of the more technical debt you have, the less of the mountain you can see. So it becomes smaller and smaller. That's probably the way I can explain it. So the conversations become a lot more difficult because you're trying to explain one thing after another. And it's like, well, did you know 6 months ago we did this and we had a choice of not doing it? And you're not going to keep track of every single thing. But if you have software in place that can keep track of all the requirements and the decisions that were made on why you did it that way, the only thing you can really do, is say, look, are you aware that if we do it this way, it will add more technical debt, and so therefore any future requirements in this area will be more expensive, and so on and so forth. And you need to document that in the ticket or whatever system you have, and that would then help those conversations. But yeah, usually the business is just involved in kind of wanting X and its requirements, and I want this feature and that feature, and that's a good starting point. And then you have the challenges. Then how do you implement this? Yeah, but we've got less issues now because there's very little technical debt. Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
Brilliant. Thank you.